Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Senioritis podcast. Today, I'm joined by my awesome panel of co-hosts, Aaron Johnson, Matt Lyons, and Joe Beaver. This is our penultimate episode, okay? So, second to last episode. Today is the night of prom, or the day of the night of prom. Tomorrow we have award ceremony, and Saturday we have our graduation ceremony. Big next few days lined up, guys. How are we feeling? What events are we looking forward to the most? What's this weekend looking like for you guys?
For me, the Senioritis has passed. I know it's the name of the podcast, but I'm fine. I'm feeling, I would say, like, rejuvenated. Like, the end of the year, it dragged. I was just waiting to get out. And now we're out. I am so happy. I am pumped for all these events. I mean, obviously, they're not really to what you'd expect, I guess, because it's all COVID adapted, even though we're coming out of the pandemic. But I'm excited to just experience them. I mean, we were kind of faced with the threat of them not being here for the longest time. And I'm happy just to have the opportunity to kind of experience them.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like earlier in the year when we were in the middle of COVID and prom was still very much up in the air. I felt myself feeling oh, I don't really care. Why am I going to want to pay to wear a mask and be in this socially distanced room? What if the food's not good? Typical questions. But now that we're here, I'm really looking forward to it. And it's just I've embraced the craziness. And in the latest newsletter that we got, it was oh, if it rains, we're still going to do it. Only if there's a thunderstorm, we're going in. And I'm just you know what? That's awesome. If we have prom in the rain, let's do it. Let's dance in the rain. Let's, just be soaking wet.
Be under a tent, Matt.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I'll leave the tent.
Yeah,
just to dance in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, in true Grease fashion, it's raining on prom night.
It is raining on prom night.
Yeah.
See? That's why we have you around, Aaron.
Exactly.
Nice one.
What about you, Joe?
For me, excited for, graduation. Because, I feel it's the last, it's the send-off. You know what I mean? It's the final thing we have to do. And then that's it. We're done. We're graduated and we moved on from high school. And, I'm just happy to be here with our brand new ACAM bucket hats.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So limited edition stuff here. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ACAM bucket hats are nice. I'm here. We also got these very nice Weekly Wave shirts. Says staff on the back. Love it. Yeah, senior events. Next 3 days are loaded.
Yes.
With some fun events. I'm in a similar boat to Matt. I wasn't that upset that we weren't gonna have or that we potentially couldn't have a prom, but now that it's here and it's outside, we don't have to wear masks, correct?
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. And I've been talking to people we're going with, and it looks like it's gonna be a good time. So it's one of those things that kind of snuck up on me. I feel since last Wednesday, the last day of school, to now has just flown, you know? And now it's here. The next 3 days we have all these events, and I just can't wait. I'm excited for the awards tomorrow. I'm excited for graduation on Saturday, like Joe said. Graduation, I think, is always something that's really special because I feel the last day of school didn't really I mean, it was great. The last day of school was my favorite day of high school. I had so much fun. The car parade was awesome. The cookout was so much fun. Mm-hmm. Everything was great, but it almost still felt inconclusive in a way. It's kind of anticlimactic. I feel any ending is anticlimactic, and that's why we have ceremonies. That's why we have funerals to that's the end of someone's life. That's why we have graduation, because it's you need those events of closure.
Yeah.
You need those events to close out chapters of your life. And I feel this is a big one, Yeah. So I'm super excited for that.
See, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I hope this changes when come graduation. But I don't know. I feel I haven't after this year. I feel I kind of breezed by it. I feel it feels like a blur, the whole quarantine and all that, COVID school. I don't really have too much to remember it by. So now that I'm graduating, I don't necessarily feel I guess I did put in the work, but it feels I haven't earned it. I want to step up on that stage and be yeah, I did it. But this past year, I felt I just coasted by.
I feel that. I feel this year it's more a test of endurance. And it's okay, you made it through, opposed to you went and did this thing. It's you survived this thing that was coming towards you.
Gotcha.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel in a similar way. That kind of bummed me out though.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not really gonna hit us until we have the cap and gowns on,
Yeah.
and when we're in that traditional garb, that it's gonna feel like real, and that we're gonna realize that like this is it.
Nice ACAM
And our-
cord.
Yes.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Graduation, it's coming. ACAM. It doesn't stop at the bucket hat. There is more.
There's always more.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like, I don't know, I feel like I'll have to graduate to see how I feel afterwards, if I felt like accomplished or not. I don't know. I mean, I'm more excited for like the future events like college and stuff like that coming up. That's more where I'm at. Like, I'm really excited to do all the things ahead rather than, this past year. It was kind of a little lackluster, I'd say, with all the events getting canceled and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will say I would like to thank our class officers and as well as the senior parents because, just like thinking about the past like 20 episodes of this podcast, towards the beginning, we weren't in like the best of spirits.
We were huge complainers.
Yeah.
I
Huge
was.
complainers.
I would say I would say I was the biggest complainer here, but things got better. As towards the beginning, this was kind of our platform to like discuss and like get it off our chests because we were inside, we were fully remote, so we were like, had like nowhere to talk, like no one to talk to. We were just in our houses doing school, and this was kind of our platform to like express our frustration for that. And I just want to like make it known that things got so much better, and the class officers and the senior parents did an amazing job making the end of the year special for us.
The month of May was like awesome. Between the breakfast and the cookout and then the
Everything.
parade.
The
The
pep
parade
rally,
was like fantastic.
The
I
pep
thought.
rally, the field day,
Yeah.
the parade. Yeah, the parade was awesome.
That parade was like one of my favorite things. Just decorating the cars, having fun in the parking lot. And
Yeah.
then the fact that like we like shut down the entire town basically to
Yeah.
have fire trucks roll through and then like all of us following behind them. That was like the most fun I had definitely at school.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite senior event, was that parade. That was
Yeah.
so much fun. I know Aaron had quite the good time with that too,
Yeah.
losing his voice in the process.
Yeah, I went pretty crazy on that. I mean, we haven't had a lot, so I really wanted to kind of like just have fun, and in the process, like I killed my vocal cords. Like
It was gone.
Like I would say about an hour after, I was speaking in this like dark, dim Will Arnett, like this really deep voice. And I was getting funny looks for it, but I mean, it just, I guess it's kind of like a testament of like how much like fun energy that we put into the parade.
Yeah. The whole month of May was just awesome. Like, it
really was.
really did. I
Yeah.
think I was saying to you, like, it really did make up for the whole year. Like, it was awesome. And, it's not even over yet. We still have 3 more great events, and they're 3, like, the biggest events, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I just cannot express enough that this year I did a full 180. Things got so much better. And I'm so happy I can sit here and say that, opposed to sitting here and being like, all right, things still, like, ended awfully,
Yeah.
So, you've had, like, the full evolution from episode 1 to episode 20. Things are great,
Yeah. I remember even in like the past episodes, I was very pessimistic. I remember like I don't want to go back full time. Let's just write this year off. And I mean, I'll admit it, I was totally wrong. I'm so happy we went back full time. I'm so happy we kind of had that normal school experience towards the end, because that's really what made my senior year. And I feel like you all feel the same with this month of May. So yeah, I guess like I came in with low expectations, and it was blown out of the water.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that same with these events. Like, I mean, granted, COVID prom, low expectations, but I'm still hoping for a good time. I'm hoping my expectations get blown out of the water.
Yeah. I think the biggest kind of like change where I knew like things were getting better is when we went back full time and I could see like the full senior class for the first time in a year. I was one of the people who thought it was ridiculous that we were all going back so soon.
Yeah.
I thought it was way too early, but I was wrong. And it was, I mean, all of our classes were so much better now that like our whole class was there and we could have like legit discussions. And now that, the month of May was so much fun, we could have fun with our entire class.
Yeah, and there were so many like little milestones for me, like with what you're saying, like everyone coming back. I remember like one moment of realization that we are coming out of this pandemic, and it's great. I'm fully vaccinated, I'm good to go, and just like I was filming a lacrosse game, and just seeing no masks was like so nice. Like things are like getting back to normal, and I'm so happy. There's a lot of places like we don't have to wear masks anymore, and the CDC says it's safe, I'll believe them. I'm not going to feel it necessary to wear my mask if they, if like there are people much smarter than me up at the CDC. I'm no scientific expert. So if they say that it's safe for me to take this thing off in certain areas and at outside events, I'm going to take it off because, it's safe to do so. And I'm so happy that I can say that and we can do that,
Yeah, I get my medical advice from Dr. Beaver over here. So, Joe, is it safe to be without a mask outside?
I hope so.
Okay.
Hopefully sometime soon. I don't know. But, like, back to what you said, though. Like, we hadn't seen people for literally a year, like, in the other half of our class. Like, you think about we went out in March of last year, and, like, until we went back all together, we probably hadn't seen some people in literally a full year. Like,
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. Like, because when did we go back, like, in full person, like, March-ish?
The week before April vacation.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Oh,
literally
that's right,
a
that's
year.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen people, like, some people in our own class for a whole year, which is crazy to
it's
think about.
crazy.
You know?
Yeah, there was so many like little things like that they just did to make things better. Like picking our own lunch seats, they did not have to do that. That was probably forced for them to let us do that, but they let us pick our own lunch seats, and I was able to sit with all my friends, and it was great.
Yeah.
So they just really pulled it together towards the end, and I appreciate that so much, and I know like everyone does, and the parents with the breakfast and the cookout did such a good job. So just overall positive end of the year experience.
Yeah. Now that like we've kind of gone over like the milestones, I do feel like proud. Not only that we survived this year, but I feel like, with the different shows we've done with this show,
Yes.
I feel like we did accomplish a lot, and I feel like this is definitely going to be a year that when I tell like my kids and grandkids like, "Oh, school was shut down. I didn't see half my class." Like, I'm going to have a lot of like ground to cover. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's kind of like a comeback story.
Yeah.
Like we're in like the lowest point in like school history,
Mhm.
and now here we are and we're like back to normal, having fun.
Yeah. And like we started like new things. We have new projects in the works. I started a fireside philosophy, which has been super fun.
Yeah.
Just something I literally thought of in the shower. I was like, oh, this would be like a fun show to do, and I was able to do it. I know we have the open mic night that's in the works,
Mhm.
and that's gonna be great. So much fun. So already the performances from what I've seen have been great. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
yeah, so many positive things, even things that came out of the pandemic. I don't know that Abington's Got Talent would have happened
Yeah.
without the pandemic. We were in this amazing routine where we would do the weekly wave, the segments, and then we'd go to the movies every week, which was awesome pre-pandemic. So we would do the weekly wave, we do the segments. We were grinding. We were on that junior year. We had so much in the works. We
was
had
a busy
so
year.
much going on, and then that all went to a halt. And then I had coffee with Cam as well. We had a lot going
Yeah.
on from a production standpoint in here, and it was great, and I was loving it. And then we had to slow down, but as we slowed down, we got to try new things. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And for
Even
a while,
Senioritis.
it was nice, when the pandemic first started, it was nice to get that change of pace, because I don't know about you guys, I love to fill up my schedule. I love to be as busy as possible.
Yeah.
And I was just going. I didn't realize how busy I was until everything shut down.
Yeah.
And then you have so much free time, and it was nice for a while. But after a month or two, it's I want to get back to working, because I don't know, but working or doing things for the community, all that, it gives me a sense of purpose. It makes me fulfilled. It's I'm not wasting my days. So I'm so happy we did Abington's Got Talent. That's one of the things I'm more proud of that came out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we were able to provide some entertainment, all that, and it became a town-wide event. We got a lot of views on.
And people
On all that.
participated.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people participated, and it was great.
Yeah. And speaking of working, we have Working, the musical. The
Sure.
fact that the high school was able to put on a musical was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, our productions got shut down, but to think of the drama department, they had a full musical.
With a
That was
set.
great.
Yeah, and it was about to happen.
Yeah,
too. It wasn't
and that
night
the fact
before.
that no one saw that.
Yeah.
At the musical, people were given DVDs, but aside from that, the fact that people didn't see that is heartbreaking.
That literally is a modern-day Greek tragedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was horrible. I mean, we saw it. It was a great musical. They put so much work into it, and it had potential to be one of the best that the school has ever done. And the fact that no one saw it it's horrible.
I think you missed that the pun with Mamma Mia, Greek. You know.
No, I understand.
Okay. It just wasn't.
I just
it just
figured
wasn't
we
funny.
should-
It just wasn't funny.
Well, I just figured we should just move on.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
You had the Grease one.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. Maybe we can just.
See, I was waiting for the reaction, Matt. But I
know.
saw it.
Tough.
I know.
This is- yeah.
We should have like a compilation of all the times I've interrupted someone, and then all the times one of us has made like a bad joke that we just completely like just
I've tried to go
went-
past.
yeah,
with it.
full speed ahead.
Or like a laughing compilation, and then
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
like, a
All right. Well, 90% of
Yeah,
it would be
it'd
the
be-
Phoenix Jones
yeah,
nephew.
it'd be like 10 minutes of me just not being able to control myself about Phoenix Jones.
I'd watch that though.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be entertaining.
I watched an hour documentary about Phoenix Jones on YouTube. It was so interesting. It was called The Rise and Fall of Phoenix Jones.
What was it on, like
It
YouTube?
was on YouTube.
Might have to check it out.
It was really good.
What was the production value? Was it like good or was
No,
it
it
just
was
like, low
good.
budget?
It was
Alright.
like, like this woman like talking or whatever, and it was like intercut with like footage, like tweets, like police reports, newspaper articles and stuff like that. It was good. It was very informative. And I didn't realize how much of a controversial figure he was until
Did they mention the net gun? Or
it
was
did mention the net
Did
gun.
mention it?
And it mentioned that the cops were like not nice to him when they were untangling him from the net gun.
Was there video? I still want to know if there's video. I'm so intrigued by
I
it.
don't think we're ever gonna see the net gun situation.
Darn.
Do you know how like in like the murder shows, like the ID channel, they have like the interpretation of it, and it's all like blurry, and they just see someone like with the gun pulling the trigger. I just want to see like
net gun.
an actor as Phoenix Jones just going.
Well, all right. First off, if you
Oh
haven't
my
seen
God.
the prior episodes, there's a Seattle superhero called Phoenix Jones, and he goes around, stops crime. He's a little bit of a controversial figure. Not all people support him being a superhero, and yes, he used a net gun to stop crime, and he got himself tangled in it, and
He
fell
was
into
trapped. He was trapped in his own.
He
device.
fell into a river.
And then I laughed for
The cops had to
yeah,
get him
20
out of
minutes
it.
straight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe lost full control.
It was a great episode. Definitely
it
check that
was.
one out. What was that? 17 or 18?
17.
17. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good one.
but it still makes me laugh because like we just found out about him like an hour or two before
Yeah,
the
I
show.
saw him.
And then we were like, oh, there's a superhero who's doing all these good things. And we had no idea what we were talking about.
No.
And we spread
We
so
thought he
much
was
misinformation.
So much. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We were like, this guy makes the world magical. He's an ex-cop. I don't know where that came from. That's
was-
just not true.
That was just a complete lie. Oh, God.
That was. Oh, it was so nice to
Fabrication.
be in that bliss, and then I went home and I did a ton of actual research after. That whole thing was based off of one TikTok, like 30 seconds that I saw, that also spread plenty of misinformation by leaving things out of the story of how controversial it was. But yeah, that was unfortunate. The following episode we did clarify.
We
but-
did, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Phoenix. He's back at it though. He is out there as of May 1st.
Yeah.
So he's been out there for another month. Good on him. I saw a post he posted to Twitter. He tweeted the other day. I follow him on Twitter. And he tweeted the other day, and it was just like a picture of him and the rest of the Rain City superhero movement.
Nice.
It was cool. But
Wait, so like all of his like co-superheroes?
The team.
oh, you weren't here. Yeah, he has a team, dude.
Yeah, well, I watched the episode to like catch up. So like he's still with his team even though they ratted him out.
No, a lot of his team like isn't there anymore. He just posted like a picture back from the good times.
Oh, so he's like
I think he's
alone.
running solo. I don't know where
Okay.
he's at these days, but
I think there was a rift in the team, and
no,
then
there's
I
absolutely a rift.
yeah, and if I take a guess now, like
Midnight Jack, we're ratting him out.
yeah, so Midnight Jack's definitely gone, right? No way he's gonna continue working with Midnight Jack. But who else was? How many people were on his team?
Dude,
Like,
there were like a lot of them.
It was like
They
10,
all
12.
looked like he's the only one with like a good looking suit. The rest of them looked really bad.
They were
There
in
was-
like pantyhose and
There
like,
was one that looked like a cowboy. I was like very confused. There's some
Is that
no,
Midnight Jack?
no, not Midnight
No,
Jack.
okay.
Midnight Jack had like a mask on.
Oh.
Like I think it was more like a midnight theme. I don't know why they had some of their names were very weird. His like girlfriend or wife or something was like the hacker and like comms person of like the team. Like the person in the chair.
The guy in the chair, yeah.
The guy in the chair, yeah. That
I don't
was, like,
believe
his
that
love interest.
she actually hacked things. I don't
Yeah,
know if
I don't know if
Is
she
that
had
like a
things. I think it was
participation
more
trophy
like
thing,
I think it was
like-
more like she had like you know, I don't know if they were in like a building or something, pull up like the floor plans or something. I don't know.
Like the blueprints.
I don't know.
The amount of mileage that we've gotten out of this Phoenix Jones person, we've stretched this into like, what, 4 episodes of content?
Dude, it's so interesting.
I know.
Come on.
I mean, we could, why don't we do a documentary on it?
I don't. Oh yeah, that'd be good.
I mean,
Well, because we're not in Seattle.
We don't have to.
We can do a road trip.
We
We
could
don't have to go to
find-
school anymore, right?
That's true.
Let's get an RV or something. You
Yeah,
know, just
RV.
drive over.
We should just find him, Ben Fodor, and just be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
Oh, Phoenix.
I know we touched upon this before, but now that that's back, what do you guys think about like van living? Like,
Like Nomadland van living
Yeah.
or like,
I didn't watch the movie.
sorry.
Describe what the.
So
heck
it's
it is.
essentially, there's a woman named Fern, and her town gets shut down, and she's forced to relocate, and she lives in a van. And she works at Amazon for like during the Christmas months, and then she travels to different areas of the world. And she travels the world, she sees like the most beautiful sights in the country. But she lives in a van. It's very small, she doesn't have a lot of freedom, and she's a nomad. She goes from place to place, and she doesn't have a lot of family. So you're talking like that, like actually living there, or just like extended road trips?
Kind of like that. I feel like it's. I mean, people do it. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's almost virtually impossible to live in a van all your life. But like maybe for like a summer, like what do you think for a future summer? Say you, a bunch of friends, get a van, and you just go to like national parks, all that.
No, with a bunch
Is
of
that- is
friends.
that
Van or
something-
RV?
A van is not big enough for.
And
a
then
bunch
an
of friends.
RV. You get an
Okay.
RV. You go to the national parks. Is that something that kind of like speaks to you guys? Because that speaks to me.
I would love it.
That
Really?
sounds fun. Yeah, I would do that.
I think it sounds fun at first, but then I don't think I could
No,
handle
as
it
long as it
after
depends
like.
on the quality of this RV. Does the RV have like
Yeah,
Wi-Fi?
that's a good
Does the
question.
RV? Because you can. There's some like top-notch RVs, like some really good, like full like plumbing and like
Yeah.
So,
full like
for this-
bed and like.
For the sake of the argument, we'll
All you
say
need
it
is plumbing
has
in a bed.
like a bathroom, and then like maybe 2 bed. Well, how many people are gonna be? If you're with your friends, you're gonna need
Let's
sleeping.
say the Senioritis road
RV.
trip. Let's say there's
Yeah.
4 people.
Yeah, so it's us. I mean, vans are like really good. They got like sinks. They got TVs. They've got all that
if it's
stuff.
like a high quality van, I would do it. But I'm not gonna go in like a camper that has like nothing.
So hold on. Next question. What's the extent of technology you would allow on a camping trip? Whether it's 2 days or like
Okay, I like that.
a month. Like, are you someone that needs Wi-Fi? You need to have all your electronics,
No.
or do you just want to say like, forget this? I'm experiencing the world the way it's supposed to be. Sans technology.
All right. Well, if I'm going camping, I want like little technology.
Mhm.
All right. I want to like cook on like the little like grill things and like just like have a good time in like the nature or whatever. But if I'm living for a summer in an RV, I would like technology. Yes.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, but if you're like camping for a weekend, I feel like the part of the experience is
Yeah.
like being off the grid. Like if you're with your family, you want to go out, be with your family. Like
Go fishing. And, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like a big thing is like North Conway. They have campgrounds around there. Like you go into town, you experience North Conway, all that stuff. I know that's big for like a lot of people around here. I do it a lot. But yeah, I feel like if you're bringing a lot of technology on a camping trip, you're kind of ruining the experience
Yeah,
of it. I feel
I
like I feel like technology really does like it has its place to make our life convenient, but when it comes to like actually enjoying life, I feel like it ruins it a
Yeah.
lot. Like so many people are sucked into their phones and all that. I mean, I hate to sound like a boomer, quote unquote, but
Go for it.
but yeah, it's just like, when do you think is this problem's gonna get worse, or do you think people are gonna realize like kind of like like technology's like ruining our lives?
I don't know. I feel like it's so weird because like it almost feels like because people have the world in their hands, they're just so content to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So many people, and we see it at high school, you know,
Mhm.
are just content to just ride along and do nothing, and just they're happy to just be on their phones, and that's enough like exploration for them. But then like I think like if I just did that, I wouldn't be wearing an ACAM bucket hat at the Senioritis podcast. I love everything we've done here at ACAM. It's been like the best part of high school, you know? But that's because I said, okay, sitting on my phone isn't enough. You know, I want to go do fun things, you know? So it's just like, I feel like people miss a lot of opportunities when they're buried in their phone,
Yeah.
you know?
And even if they do like go camping, it's like, oh, hashtag by the fire, and like they like share
Who
it. And,
cares?
like
Yeah.
they still rely on like social media to like, I don't know, show what they're.
See,
doing.
I'm so glad. I never liked social media, really. I had Twitter, but I didn't like Twitter, I feel like, is different than like some like a lot of the other social medias. I feel like that I've used for more like keeping up to date with things and like with especially like movies and TV shows and like directors. Like I don't follow like people from like our school on Twitter. I follow like movie directors and like actors and stuff like that, and like companies and like game companies and stuff like that. I'm so happy I didn't get social media until this year because I don't know if like a younger Derek could have like handled it properly. I never wanted it, and I didn't even want to get it this year. The only reason I got it was to stay in touch with people that I'll be going to college with next year and start to reach out and meet people because Snapchat's just like what people use these days.
Yeah.
And like I got Instagram just same reason, just to talk to people that I'll be going to college with. That's just what people use. But I'm so glad I held off because it's not my thing, and I don't even use it that much, especially Instagram. I like barely touch it,
Yeah.
So I'm glad I held off on that stuff because I feel like that's some of the biggest stuff on people's phones that like, distract them,
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna have a hot take here. I want to know if you guys agree with it or not.
Oh boy.
So, for me, like I kind of see it around here. I feel like social media has created a society, at least our generation, just a society of like followers and people with unoriginal personalities. I feel like people don't have their own values, and they kind of see like the influencers that they follow, obviously, on these platforms, and they copy them. I'm not seeing too much originality. I'm not seeing too much. Kind of, I guess, people's own personalities anymore. I'm seeing a lot of like replicates.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think I see that a lot too. I think a lot of people try and echo like these big social media influence.
Yeah, but like it goes both ways because those who are like who do their own thing and they are like original or whatever, and they get a following, then it kind of promotes them.
Right.
But at the same time, then they become the influencer,
And then
other
people follow them. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really, I don't know. I mean, it's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I feel like too, like I think you're right. I think you're right. There like is a lot of people just following the trend. I think that's why you see a lot of advertisement. Like influencers are now like the great source of advertisement. They'll be promoting like this makeup or this like phone accessory or some sort of like I don't know, some sort of gadget or something. And you can definitely tell like people will buy it because they're promoting it simply just for that reason. And that kind of goes to show like people are following these people like blindly sometimes.
Yeah, but even with like things like the vaccine, like celebrities promoting that, or like even like Elon Musk, he makes a tweet and that influences people's entire financial situations.
Yeah.
Like influencers, they just have so much power, and people just like listen to them.
You just without thinking, just follow blindly.
Yeah,
That's such a dangerous thing when people hold that much power.
Yeah,
Yeah. We talked about this. It's
we
so
did.
interesting.
This was a topic that we
Yeah.
discussed at one point.
But like,
I think
it was a
last-
nice like segue into that.
Yeah,
So watch episode
I
19
think that would be 19.
of
For more on
Senioritis to
that.
get a little bit more information on that topic.
Yeah.
Good topic though. It's always fun to like just kind of like try to get an objective view of life nowadays. Because obviously we didn't know what it was like, 20, 30, 50 years ago. But it's always kind of interesting to think like, okay, how is life overall? Like viewing like the younger people, the boomers, and then the seniors.
Yeah. I think it's so fascinating how fast life changes. I mean, like our parents grew up in a totally different time. There wasn't like cell phones. I mean, there obviously was like later on, but like when they were younger, when they were our age at least, there wasn't like cell phones or anything to kind of contact their parents. It was a lot more trust, and then like post 9/11 introduced a lot of like security features and all that. So it's so interesting seeing how fast the world changes. It's like smartphones. I mean, they really got popularized, kind of, for us. I'd guess like a decade ago, you'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, and that just absolutely changed the world. I mean, everyone's on their phones, everyone's doing this. It's kind of interesting to me to think about how like our parents spent their time, and how because for me, it's like social media and technology, whether I like it or not, is a huge part of my life. It's like I'll watch TV, I'll play Xbox, PlayStation, I'll do all this stuff. I want to know like what they did. Because how do they fill that much time? Because obviously, like, they're not hanging out with their friends, or maybe they were, but like obviously there's time at home. Like, were they reading books? Like, what were they doing?
I think, well, I don't know.
From like what my parents have talked about, they would just hang out with their friends. My mom lived in like a neighborhood with a lot of her friends, so I think they were just like always hanging out with their friends.
Like every day? Like
Yeah.
7 days a week?
I think so. I think that's just how it was, dude.
You know, it's something that like I kind of just thought of when you were talking about it. Like obviously what people did. Like I think maybe Miss Tomlin mentioned this, and then I think like some famous musician mentioned it in an interview. Like when you would listen to music, like back then, like you would make like a day out of it. Like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this record. You would put on the record and you would listen
Just
to it.
sit there and listen, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I like past music more than I like today's music. I think I made that clear in the previous episodes. And I feel like that kind of like a raw emotional voice that you hear in like the older songs. I think that's why. Because nowadays you can pull it up on your phone. I mean, I listen to music constantly, but it's usually when I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
If I'm like doing homework, writing an essay, I have music on.
I don't think I ever sit down and just listen to music.
Right. Yeah, you've never just sit down, stare at the wall, or close your eyes and just listen to the words and the sounds. And I wish we can kind of go back to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, I mean, like, it's similar with, like, TV. Like, there wasn't, like, a lot of TV, but, like, they definitely did, like, watch TV. And, like,
Yeah.
I think another thing was even just, like, landline phones. Like, you see in, like, old TV shows, like The Brady Bunch or whatever, like, people spent a lot of their time, like, you know, because phones were, you know, they'd talk to people on the phone. And that's, like, maybe they weren't hanging out with their friends every day, but they would be talking to them on the phone. And they would just have conversations.
And like you said, Matt, with music, like now if you go on like Spotify or Apple, you see like the most played songs, like the most liked songs and things like that. And you just usually, like if I'm seeing new artists, I just pick the most liked song. Like if I search them on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. And I think a lot of times people don't look at their whole discography because, you know, they just look for what's like the most popular song. And that kind of goes back to what you were saying with like the followers. People just follow. You know, they don't form their original opinion on things. You know, sometimes just go blindly to what the crowd does. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's dangerous.
It's so interesting because like everything, like nothing's black and white anymore. Because nowadays we have like access to everything and we have access to all artists, and that's great because we can hear more things. But at the same time, we don't really have like. It's kind of harder to like hone an interest just because there's so much and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know like if I find a band that I like and I listen to all their songs, I can then like see what influenced them, and then I kind of go back in time and listen to those bands. And it's interesting to kind of like see you have a greater spectrum of music that you can pick from, and content in general, not just music.
Yeah.
So back to the point where you kind of said that like they would spend a day out of it. Do you think our generation and future generations are kind of losing their appreciation for like the little moments in life? Do you feel like we're kind of glossing over those instead of actually like really living in the moment?
See, I definitely think so. Like, I cannot sit still. Like, if I am just sitting there, like, I'll pull out my phone for sure and just see what's going on. Even, like, I found, like, I'll come home from school, between school and work. I have, like, an hour between school and work, usually. All right, so I'd come home from school, and I'd be getting my dinner ready, but I can't just do that. I need a YouTube video in the background to listen to. So I'm listening to a podcast or a YouTube video. You know, I can't just, like, do things in life. Like, even, like, making my bed, doing the laundry. Like, I'm, like, listening to a podcast or watching, like, having a YouTube video in the background. Like, I can't just, like, sit and, like, make my bed. You know what I mean? I need, like, something going on in the background. Even, like, eating alone, I can't just sit there and eat. I have a YouTube video or a podcast going every time.
Yeah, it's so funny they brought that out because Mark Maron is a stand-up comedian, and I think it was like 2 years ago, he did a special, and he was talking about exactly what you were, like waiting in line. Like people, they didn't have to like look at their phones; they would just have to just look.
Yeah.
And just kind of look around, and like during lunch breaks, people would just eat the same sandwich every day and just kind of like give nods to people, and they would just sit. If they didn't have anything to read, they would just sit and stare, and that's so scary to me. That's terrifying.
No, that's like awful. Like I could not do that.
No.
That's
No
just so
way.
much like
Yeah.
empty space.
Yeah.
I can't just sit there and like be numb like that. Like even if I'm sitting and thinking, I have to be like I have to have something I'm thinking about, and I have to like sit there and like think about it in
Yeah.
my mind if I'm like doing nothing else. Like I remember like after like MCAS back in the day, like I would have to have something very specific in my mind that I'm like thinking about, or else I'd like go crazy. Like I can't just sit there, you know.
Interesting. But I feel like going back to your original question, Aaron, like we have less of those moments where we do nothing and just kind of just live. But at the same time, I think when we do get those moments where we can, like, for me, it's like when I'm outside with my dog, I just sit on my porch and I try as hard as I can to not use my phone. and I just watch my dog, and I just look at like the birds around and just like look at the nature around me.
See, I can't
That's
do
awesome.
that. I'd be listening to a podcast or YouTube video.
Yeah,
Doing what
it's
you're doing.
super hard.
I
because
can't
we've
do
been
that.
so trained to like use
Yeah.
technology.
Fill every second.
We need to be
Yeah.
like constantly entertained. It's
Yeah.
really unhealthy.
It
But
really is.
I really just like when you have all this entertainment right there, I need to be constantly entertained, constantly. Or else I just like I can't sit still.
Yeah, I definitely fall in that same boat as you, Derek. Like if I'm doing something and like I can't just like you said do it. Like you need like a podcast or something in the
Or a
background
YouTube
to
video or
just like any sort of stimulation, just like
Yeah.
to keep your mind like
Yeah.
on something at least. I don't know. It
I think
definitely helps.
that's why we're always so exhausted because we're not resting. You're constantly absorbing
Yeah.
like entertainment, and like that's why I feel like like other generations are like, oh, like you just had like a day of school and a day of work. How are you so tired? You're young. You should be like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's part of it is like we're not sitting and resting. Where them sitting there and eating that sandwich might have been like time where they're like kind of going into like a stasis where they're not really like thinking and they're not really like being awake almost. Like I feel like that's the thing, like we're sitting there and we're like our mind's moving because we're absorbing information. That's why we're like so exhausted after like a day of school and work after that.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's like a lot more anxiety in younger people than there was, I imagine, like 20 years ago. And I think you hit the nail on the head that like you don't really get a second to just think on your own.
Yeah.
It's constantly.
And I think another interesting aspect of that is we, a lot of times people our age don't want to do as much work because I think back then, like Aaron said, you're just like they have nothing else to do. You're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Why not do like some extra homework? Where we are like, okay, it's not like we're doing nothing else. If I'm not doing this homework, I could be entertaining myself with all this technology and all these things. So it's like, I want to get this work done so I can go entertain myself. Where with them, it's like, okay, I'll get this work done because I have nothing else to do. And I'll just like enjoy, or not, maybe not enjoy, but like just do the work. And that will be like what fills my time and what like occupies me.
Yeah.
Where I feel like I'm like writing an essay. I want to get this essay done so I can go watch TV or watch a movie or play PlayStation,
Yeah.
So I think it also messes with work ethic a lot because it's like, I'm not doing this to get to this, opposed to like
just doing it.
just doing
to
it
do
because I have nothing else to do. I
Right.
guess.
And
Well,
do
I
you
guess.
think-
Yeah.
oh,
Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So do you think this also translates into kind of like hanging out with people? Because I feel like I need to fill every second, and when it gets like silent, I feel awkward. Like even
Yeah.
if here like on the show right now, if this gets like silent for like 10 seconds, that's gonna that makes me feel weird. It makes me feel awkward. I feel like I need to constantly be like entertaining, filling the time. I don't know if you
Yes.
guys feel the same
No,
way.
dude. When people are at my house and it's just like I don't have something like for us to do, I'm just like, this is awful. But like, why can't we just sit and like talk?
Yeah.
Like, never. You know what I mean?
See, I like the silence. I think. Yeah, and I feel. It was a brief like millisecond of silence where you guys are like, what are you talking about? But not like when people like hang out, because I obviously want to like do stuff, but at the same time I enjoy when we can just, or when I can just kind of chill out and not do anything.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I appreciate the silence.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
See, another thing that I find interesting. Remember when, like, all right, I remember like being a kid, right? This is, I think, I want to know if you guys had like the same experience. But as a kid, we'd go over like family friend's house or like my aunt's house or whatever, and the parents would just sit at the table and talk. And I would be like, I'm so bored. They would have to entertain me. They'd have to like give me like the Wii to play like tanks or something like that because like I couldn't just sit there. But now, I feel like, I mean, like what we're doing right now, like I could sit and talk with my friends for hours on end.
Yeah, I mean,
like at the beach last week, like I could literally just sit.
is that our runtime? Because an hour and 28 minutes.
There's no way. That can't be fair.
Because then, I mean, we're doing it. We're droning. We're
Yeah.
talking for a while now.
And I think another thing, real quickly before we end this, because I think this has gone on for far too long. But like, I like the feeling now that we're like graduating high school, like that we've earned the right to kind of talk with the parents.
Yeah.
And have a real conversation.
Sit
I
at,
love
sit
that.
at the big kids table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not those little kids anymore. We can we have thoughts and opinions, and we can share them with other people.
Yeah, I love just sitting and talking to people.
Yeah.
And like whenever I have like someone like in my car, I'm like, oh, I want to keep talking. I have so much to say.
Yeah.
And I think in general, like I just always have so much to say, you know, because I just love talking to people, you know, and expressing things. So yeah.
All right, let's wrap this
End
up.
it there.
Thank you for watching episode 20 of the Senioritis podcast. This was a long one, but also an entertaining one. I hope you guys had a good time watching this episode. I had a good time talking with you guys today. And stay tuned for our final episode coming soon.